Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here tonight with Kurt Leavins. Hey, Kurt.
We got to say it.
We got to say it. Never
Never in doubt. That one was for you, Bruce.
It sure was. Yeah, Bruce would have enjoyed that one for sure. All right. 7-4 win. Come from behind victory for the Edmonton Oilers. They haven't evened the series. It's 2-1 now for the Kings. A very tough team. We'll get into that a bit. Kurt, two good things, two bad things, two numbers. And because it's a huge win, the biggest win since the playoffs, obviously, of last year, two good things each. What is your first good thing?
Yeah, agree. Biggest win of the season. And the guy who scores the biggest goal of the year to date, Evander Kane. The guy who doesn't play a game all season long in his second game back has a goal and an assist. And I'd say, David, they don't win this game without him. And there was lots of good performances tonight. We can look up and down the lineup and say he had a good game. He had a good game. He had a good game. But when you consider the long shot aspect with which Evander Kane came at this game, to miss an entire season, to not have a training camp, and jump into the lineup when you're playing all the best remaining teams in the league, going at elite speed, to make a contribution like he did in the game tonight. He also had 5 hits, is really something else, man. It speaks to the athleticism of the man and his competitive attitude, because he's not 100%. You don't go along that path from those 3 surgeries, if you include the knee, double ab surgery and knee surgery. Just mad respect for the guy. And that 4-4 goal, man, talk about turning point in the game. Because not only did he score the goal, but because he did kick the puck up and then swatted in, there was some question whether it was kicked in. In fact, the referees didn't allow the goal to begin with, thinking it was the kicking motion that made the puck go in the net, and the replay revealed that was not the case. But then the Kings made the decision to challenge the play for goaltender interference, and there was none, man. If I'm the LA coach after the game, I'm looking my off ice team officials in the eye and going, why did you tell me to challenge that? Because it put the Oilers on the power play, and did it take them 10 seconds for Draisaitl and Bouchard to hook up and make it 5-4?
What a terrible call by the LA Kings.
Just
like I was just shocked that they called it. Like, I couldn't see what they were seeing in the least. So I went back. I had to look at it all. Like, I was looking at it again to see the kicking motion, the shooting motion. It was definitely, thank goodness for video replay on goals. I'm okay with video replay on goals, just not offsides.
Me too.
That was a huge moment for video replay to get that right. Like, if they had denied that goal after he clearly tapped it in with his stick, I don't see, unless they're thinking Kane jabbing with his stick at the goalie in the crease, but he really wasn't. He didn't push the goalie. He was just trying to hit the puck, and he was missing. And the LA King guy was also slamming his stick around and hitting his own goalie.
And it was Kopitar pushing him toward the crease, right? So there was all kinds of pressure from the LA player. It's just an awful call. With the Oilers power play, even though it hasn't been 100%, who would give them that kind of advantage when you don't need to?
It smacks of a kind of arrogance. Like, like they said on the TV, I think Louis said, he's got confidence in his penalty killers. Like, yeah, but you're facing this power play team that sliced you open last year, scored already this game, and you're giving them a chance. Like, that is. I don't know how mad they are in LA, but they should be really, really mad, because the Kings could have easily won that game. Like, they can score. What we know about this series, Kurt, the LA Kings can score on the Edmonton Oilers.
Mhm.
And for them to give away that game, like they still had some time to come back, but that was a brutal moment for the coach. It could almost be a good thing, but I'll go with the Oilers' power play goals. Just fabulous plays by two highly skilled players on both goals. Uh, Leon the bulldozer Draisaitl on it was the Oilers' second goal of the game, and he won that face-off. And I don't think it was a penalty. Like I'm biased, but you're allowed to hold your ground. You're allowed to. They're fighting for space, and they both want the same space.
Yep.
That is not a penalty. Draisaitl's, you could say he's going to the net, and Kopitar's block it. Like it's. I didn't think that was a penalty, but anyway, he bulldozed Kopitar, stopped him from going out to get Bouchard. Corey Perry made a total eclipse of the sun screen on the goalie, great screen, and Bouchard did what he did. What a great shot. And like I'm a Bouchard fan, right? I'm in that camp. And it's just nice to see him show what he can do. He wins games in the playoffs. He's done it, you know, 2 or 3 years running. Big moments in playoff games. He had a terrible start to this series. He had a really rough year. That's why Evan Bouchard's going to get paid. He is a highly skilled, he's a fantastic attacking hockey player. Again, people have made, and I've made the Larry Murphy comparison many times. Larry Murphy also had his foibles on defense, and he was traded many times because of it. But man, he won some Stanley Cups, and he was a Hall of Fame hockey player. I don't know if Evan Bouchard's going to have that kind of career, but he's off to a pretty good start, and that was a fantastic game. The second goal, Kurt, I think both the goals. I think the announcers or the between the periods they were suggesting that was a set play by the Oilers, that Gullickson had written that up for Draisaitl to block the guy going to the point because they knew that's what the Kings wanted to do. That was their system. I think that the second goal was also a set play because the ice just opened up for Bouchard up the middle. He rushes the puck in slowly, takes the blue line, drops it for Draisaitl. The Kings weren't expecting that. It always goes through McDavid, right? It's always McDavid. It's always him wheeling in. And they changed it up with the set play. And it was, as they say in soccer, pure class. Both the deception of the play, how it kind of slowly unfolds. You're not expecting that to happen. And then all of a sudden, boom, in a second, Bouchard goes to the net. He's open. Draisaitl hits him with a great kind of fake shot pass. Like, he puts some English on it and gets it over there. And what a great strike by Bouchard. Just puts it in the top of the net. It was a beautiful, beautiful goal. It would have been great to be in the building tonight. Like, it would have been fat. That's a game people will remember for a long time. That win was huge.
One quick point on each player. On Draisaitl, I don't know if anybody in the league slows the play down to their advantage better than Leon does. And I thought that second goal in particular was just a great example of that. And as so far as Evan goes, I hate people who throw hockey players out with the bathwater. I'm as frustrated as the next guy when it comes to his defensive foibles, but I think most people would agree. I've been pretty consistent with my observation on Bouchard's offensive skills. They're elite. And you can teach defenders how to defend, but you can't teach what he's got. You're born with those skills. And the people who want to move him out of town will rue that just as badly as when we sent Jeff Petrie and hell, what's his name now? Who went to Anaheim
Justin
and
Schultz.
Pittsburgh? Justin Schultz won a Stanley Cup. So
Yeah.
yes, he giveth and he taketh away, but he giveth and giveth again tonight.
Yeah. He's a really fine hockey player, and he made some really nice stretch passes too all game long. He was stretching it out and led to some grade A shots off his passing.
Two really good defensive sticks too. Like, he had a solid defensive game as well.
Yeah, it was one of his best games of the year, and I think because he is such a calm and confident player, he can rise to the fore in the playoffs because he I mean, the explosion of joy after he scored kind of belies what I'm saying. I've never seen, I don't know if I've seen a person happier in my life, but anyway, he was
He
up
looked
there.
he looked pretty pumped.
It was really sweet to see him so happy, and that
Yeah.
contrast with the agony of McDavid after the second
Oof.
period when they showed that after the goal that we're going to be talking about soon.
Yeah.
Anyway, Kurt, what is your second good thing?
My second good thing is the second line. Leon Draisaitl alongside Vasily Podkolzin and Victor Arvidsson tonight. Gee, I remember somebody after game 2 saying that if Chris Knobloch was smart, he would put Draisaitl together with Arvidsson and Podkolzin. I wonder who that was. Oh, I know who it was. It was David Staples.
Oh, shucks,
um,
Kurt.
that line was really good tonight. But you know what? To your point, last podcast, these guys have played together most of the year, right? They know where one another is. And when you look at the fancy stats, natural stat trick, 5-on-5 tonight, Leon Draisaitl was 76%. Arvidsson was 81%, and Podkolzin 79%. They had a great 5-on-5 game, and then Draisaitl pitched in with the 2 power play points that you alluded to as well. Up and down, I thought they were the Oilers' best line tonight.
Podkolzin was in on 6 grade A shots at even strength. Like for him, that's like I don't know if he's had a total that high this year. Draisaitl also in on 6. So this line, I think, manufactured 6 grade A shots, and they gave up maybe 1 or 2. That's a really good thing. The first goal was also a line that had been together. My point was like these players aren't familiar with each other. They're all discombobulated.
Yep.
That's what we're seeing. And it was brilliant. Knobloch's play after at practice, where he had the weirdest lines, not the weirdest lines, no weirder than the game 2, but he had more game 2 lines of guys who had never played together. And then he had 2 righties and 2 lefties paired up on the blue line. It didn't make any sense. And so my thing was just go with the players, go with the combinations as much as you can. Although I think I would have probably put Kane up, if I'm completely honest. I would have put Kane on that line with Arvidsson and Draisaitl. In any case,
but those practice lines and pairings were total BS.
it was great deception, and I think it was. He was going for the deception there. Anyway, it was really good to team up the players who have played together. You can't reinvent the wheel at this point under such pressure. You need Hyman knows and Nuge they know how to play with McDavid, and that was a great first goal, right? Like it's just brilliant play by all 3 of them. And that I don't know if did the other lines scored, but they were dominant. And Podkolzin was hitting like he was like doing a lot of damage with his hitting. And I don't know if the Kings are starting to get a little beat up, but I think the Kings have probably been on, maybe the Oilers went into the series more beat up, but the Kings are taking a licking. Some of those defensemen, like Kane's hit on, I think it was it was on Mikey Anderson. He belted that. Like there's been some wicked hits.
The Oilers had 39 hits tonight.
They did, and the Kings had 31, I think. So
well, I just think the Oilers need
to
there. I just think the Oilers need to listen to Coach Staples more.
No way. Yeah.
What's your other good thing?
All right. John Klingberg. When the Oilers traded for Klingberg, I was hoping that he would be kind of their Johnny Oduya. Johnny Oduya was a Swedish player who played for in his 30s, having been with a few teams, was traded to the Chicago Blackhawks, and he helped them win a cup. And he did it just by being a smart veteran hockey player who played good defense, good positional defense. But when he had the puck, he just moved it so well, smartly. He was always in position, just did what you love defensemen to do. Get that puck, move the puck smartly. And Klingberg did it again all game long. Yep. He might have got a point, but he was hauled down, I think, when he burst, like at the blue line, he deked somebody out, and then he got hauled down. But it's not a flashy game. But man, did the Oilers ever need someone to step up? The absence of Ekholm is so glaring right now.
Yes.
Especially on the PK. And it's painful to watch the Oilers without Ekholm because they can't really defend very well. They have a hard time now breaking the cycle. They're having a hard time in their own zone in many situations. But Klingberg is stepping up. And he didn't make a mistake on a grade A shot against all game long at even strength. Or, well, I don't know if he plays shorthanded much. Maybe they should start that. But there's lots of criticism until, well, last week, last few days about Klingberg. People saying, oh, that's another example of Bowman blowing it.
Damn glad we've got
Maybe
him now.
not. Maybe not. Maybe not.
You know,
Yeah.
it just looked like he'd done this before.
Yeah.
And defensively, to my eye, in the regular season, when he got in trouble defensively, he was still having trouble turning. When you come back from a hip
Yes.
surgery like his, but you know what? He didn't get himself turned around like a corkscrew tonight. He kept himself square to the play, and I think that's key to his defensive success.
I wouldn't be surprised to start to see him play more, get a little bit more ice time. We'll see what happens, but he's certainly playing well.
He certainly played more than Emerson did tonight. So
Yeah, Emberson was a little. I would have. Too bad Stetcher's hurt. Like
yeah.
Emberson he's just barely okay-ish, but the play is a little bit faster than he is. Like he's hanging in there, but just barely.
He's okay in the
So
rough going. He's hard nosed. I don't mind his game at all, but I see the same thing that you do. Yeah.
yeah, Wallman's also having some struggles. Anyway, we're gonna move on now to our bad things. Are we not? Yes, we
Yes,
are.
we are.
Kurt, what's your bad thing?
Well, you teed me up. The 4-3 goal.
Ooh,
You know I'm a Jake Wallman fan.
me too.
I think he's like playing at 75%. I thought it the other night when he got beat to the outside. He was playing his offside, but the way he turned, I thought, that doesn't look like a healthy guy. But tonight's play, I don't believe had anything to do with injury. There's a case where it was a nothing play. It was a nothing play. And the Kings make this Hail Mary pass up to the far blue line. Wallman's got the attacker square in his eyes, right? And gets flat out beat on the play. Just flat out beat on the play. And I could hear my old coaches shouting in my head while I was watching that happen, because in a case like that, David, take him down, like haul him down, trip him, like pull his stick out of his hands. Anything's better than what you let him do. Like anything's better than let him walk around you clean. Like take your chances on a 2-minute power play. Don't let him walk in alone. You can't. You cannot get beat one-on-one in that situation. Now, he did.
Yes, he did.
But in
He
fairness
did.
to Wallman, your goaltender, who otherwise was really pretty good for the Oilers tonight, but that's a puck Calvin Pickard would tell you he has to stop.
Oh yeah.
That one hand flick 5-hole just can't go in. At the end of the day, Calvin Pickard was the best goalie in this hockey game, and came up with some big damn saves. But that game might not have been as nail biting as it was had he stopped that puck when he should have. So shame on Wallman for letting the guy go by him, but Cal's got to be better on gimme plays like that.
It's a good point about Wallman. I don't remember him getting beat along the boards like that
Because
in
he's
the
known as
regular
such a good
season.
skater, right?
Yeah, and I was laughing as you were talking about the Kirk, because when I play beer league hockey, I get beat like I get beat like that all the time. I just want to get like pick off the pass, like be a little too high on the puck, like
Yeah.
be a little too aggressive, and he just got too high on the play, and the guy got the pass and went around him. Now this happened to some LA Kings defensemen. There was one play where I think Arvidsson got around a Kings defenseman in a similar way, but he just didn't get a breakaway like that. But Pickard, he's gotta have. That's not a grade A shot. It's not fast. It's not that unpredictable.
Yep.
He's got to have that. And this is, Pickard isn't a great reflex goalie. He's a positional goalie, and it was brutal. I think we'll see Skinner next game.
Really? Boy, you know what? I wouldn't. And I understand why you'd say that, but you won with this guy. You
I
won
don't
with
think
this
that.
guy. I think it does, because take a look at the game. You and I see eye to eye on that 4-3 goal, 100%. But the other
Yeah,
3 goals, 2 of them were deflections off his own player's sticks, and the other one was a screen that he didn't see.
You think the first one was a deflection, eh, Kurt? Like
Oh
the
yeah,
McDavid one? We're going to
absolutely.
get into that. Well, let's talk
Yeah,
about that in a second. We'll get it. Or
yeah.
we can just go there
We
now,
can
I
go right
guess,
into it now. Yeah.
because that's my bad thing is listen, the Oilers are up 2-1 or 2-0.
Mhm.
It is a great start to the game. They have had the first 6 shots, but the Kings are coming on. They get the next 4. And 2 of them are 5 alarm shots. They're coming on. So there's a 4-on-4. And the 4-on-4 always worries me with the Oilers. And they actually did pretty well, I think, this year, 4-on-4, if I'm not mistaken.
They
They
didn't
have
allow
been
a
getting
single
better.
goal against 4-on-4 this year.
Yeah, but this was bad habits because McDavid just didn't cover his man. You really have to play man to man. You've got to take a man, and he's on Kempe. You do not let Adrian Kempe get a pass, come charging down the wing for 2, 3 steamboats, pick his spot and fire from just below the dot. You can't have that happen. McDavid allowed that to happen. He's the captain. He's got to set the defensive tone for this team. This team is not going anywhere, and I'm not convinced they're going anywhere because of the defensive play of this team right now. They are defensively porous. Um, Tonight they did about the same as they've been doing. It was 18-15 for grade A shots,
Mhm.
but the subset of 5 alarm shots were 10-3 for the Oilers. So the Oilers were clearly the better team tonight. They clearly deserved this win. But 15 grade A shots, that's a lot. That's like should be about 4 goals,
Yeah.
maybe 3 goals. So
Through the
it's
season, David, what did you see as about an average? If they allowed 15
12.
tonight, 12 is about so okay. So
The
yeah.
Oilers the Oilers allowed about 12 a game. So, so in good games they're below 10.
Hmm.
And in the playoffs, they've got to have a game to beat the Kings next game. They've got to have a game where they limit the Kings to fewer than 10 grade A shots. They haven't come close. It's been 15, 16, 17, 18 this playoffs against the Kings in all 3 games. So they've got to do that. And I don't see any indication they're going to do that. And part of it is plays like McDavid, just a mental error. Hockey's fast, I get it. He's the best player, but the offensive players he's largely cured the habit of offensive players to always be focused on the attack, puck watching, getting the puck, winning the puck, attacking with the puck. He's come like he is a really good defensive hockey player now.
He is.
But that what not in that play. He let the Kings back in that game with
Yeah.
the 2-1 goal.
Yeah, that's a mental mistake, right? Which, to your
Yeah.
point, your captain can't make. It's if someone just beats you, hey, that happens. It's a game, right? But you know what I thought it was in that play? I thought it was a case where he's trying to do too much.
Maybe.
He was tracking back hard, and he picked a guy and he went at him. The problem was Hyman was already on that guy.
Yeah.
Right? And all if Connor had stopped and thought about it for a millisecond, all he needed to do was shoulder check. He'd see Kempe on the far side and he'd pull back. Right. So yeah, I saw the play exactly the way you did. You don't see that from 97 very much anymore, but he did let him into the game. And you know what? When you saw the expression on his face afterwards, he knew it too.
Yeah. Hockey happens fast. And at the NHL level, it happens like a bolt of lightning where you say all he had to do was shoulder check. Just that moment, like even in the moment when he was shoulder checking, he probably would have been late to the play. Like he's got to like he just almost has to be on it. He has to know he's got to pick up a guy, and he's got to be anticipating picking up the right guy earlier than that. And I think that's the mental mistake. He's probably thinking, you're right. Yeah, I'm going to go get this other guy. But the second he sees it, he's got to pick up someone else. Anyway, it's a mistake. It happens. Kurt, what's your number?
10 out of 19. The Edmonton Oilers in the Stanley Cup playoffs since 2022 over the first 2 games of playoff series are 10-19. 10 wins, 19 losses in the first 2 games of series since 22. In other words, they suck at the start of every series, which is why I had some confidence that they could pull this one out tonight. This team, for whatever reason, gets better as series go on. And you can only hope that history is predictive of the future in this case, because if they're down 3-0, this series is as good as done. But now at 2-1, your ears perk up, and this is a whole new ball game. But it's this slow start to this series. It's not something that we haven't seen before.
10 and 19. That is a great number, by the way, Kurt. That is fantastic. Like, that is appalling. It's appallingly
Right?
fantastic.
It's stunning that they've done as well as they have in the playoffs when you consider their slow starts.
That's crazy. Listen, I think the Oilers can come back, but man, again, they've got to play championship defense. They haven't come close to it, and especially on the penalty kill.
Yeah, they need to win a 1-0 game, you know.
I don't know if like
But
Elliot.
I know what you're going to say. You're not sure they can, right?
I'm not sure they can. Like,
I'm not sure they can either.
They haven't shown they can, right? And I thought they were in, like, after they tied it, I thought there's a really good chance they're going to lose this game because they can't defend. They can't defend, and their goalies are their goalies, right? They're average at best. So it's the penalty kill, though. It is a horror show. 2 for 2 tonight for the LA Kings now, and my number is 58%. They've scored on 58% of their power play chances.
That's god awful.
7 out of 12.
Man.
I don't know what to say about it. It's just, they have taken the Kings late into a number of penalty kills. A lot of the goals have come in the final 20 seconds, 2 or 3 of them, which is even more brutal. But
right? Yeah.
Fiala is such a Kempe. Like, let's give credit where it's due. First of all, Kempe and Fiala are spectacular offensive players playing their best hockey that I've ever seen them play. Fiala's shooting
shooters
is scary, and Kempe is a great player. Period. He's just a great player. He's a big, dangerous, strong, smart, attacking winger. He is a fantastic hockey player, and he's playing great. So I don't know, maybe someone's got to give the old Valerie Harlamoff speech in the dressing. Kidding. But yeah, I won't even get into what that means. But
if you know, you know.
If you know, you know. They're slow. And the first unit, Henrique and Nuge, I think they got to break that up. It's not working. I don't know what they should do. Maybe I don't think you start with Janmark and Brown, because Janmark is probably not going to win that faceoff, but you might. Like, they seem to be winning that faceoff consistently and dominating the start of most penalty kills. So I think you have to. That's one thing you might want to do is get a different unit out there, or pair Nugent Hopkins with someone other. I'm not saying Henry can't kill a penalty later on, but he's not. He is. I think he is part of the problem. Obviously, the biggest problem is Ekholm. Let me just see, is Klingberg even playing on the PK?
I didn't see him PK tonight. While you're looking, I think you're onto something with splitting them up. I'd still use both guys on the PK, but I'd pair each of them with someone quick. I'd put one of them with Janmark and one of them with Brown.
Yeah.
Then you have a centerman and a quick winger, right?
Maybe that's the way to go. I mean, Janmark and Brown really do work fairly well together. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Janmark 145, Henrique 102, Brown 207, Arvidsson 40 seconds. I think Arvidsson and Podkolzin were out there for one of the goals. Emberson 114, Podkolzin just 22 seconds, Nugent Hopkins 58 seconds. Wallman 111. So Klingberg doesn't play on the PK. Maybe there's a really good reason for that. But the way I'm seeing Klingberg, I'd be thinking I want John. Maybe they should put go with another defenseman at forward. Put Klingberg up at forward. I don't know why teams don't do that. Like Klingberg at forward would be. I think he'd be better than Henrique. He can't take a face-off, but he's a really smart defensive player. Mm-hmm. So something innovative, something different. They should try it, because what they're doing now is clearly not. And I don't see it getting better necessarily because they're slower. The Kings attackers are faster. Maybe it's just putting McDavid out. That might be over.
I was just going to say, I wonder if, especially with the Kings proclivity to use that 5-man forward unit, maybe you should use McDavid on one PK shift and Draisaitl on another shift. They're both good penalty killers. They've done it in their career. The other guy who was a good penalty killer, but he hasn't been in that role for a year and a half, is Zach
Hyman. I don't agree that McDavid and Draisaitl were good penalty killers because their defensive sense, they take too many chances. They overcommit to the attack.
Yeah, I disagree. I think they're veteran players now, and I think they're wiser than they used to be. The other thing they do, and I think
Yes,
you'll
I
agree
agree
with
with
this, they push defenders back when they're out there.
Listen, if you started with McDavid and Draisaitl on the PK, that might scare the snot out of a team, right? It's not working right now, is what I'm saying. So
I agree.
I think you've got to change it. I don't think you keep going back to that same well of Henrique and RNH.
Yeah.
I'm gonna maybe go back and look at all the power play goals, like and chances to get a better idea of that. Might do a little video review tomorrow because
I think you said a mouthful when you said Matthias Ekholm.
Yeah, yeah. Wallman's really struggled.
Yeah. I was talking to my brother the other night, who was a fantastic hockey player, and his first comment, he's an Oilers fan, his first comment is, "Boy, they miss Ekholm, eh?" It's the first thing he said. So
they really do. They really miss him. Wow. It's big.
Yeah. And
he was so good.
Yet, eh? Yeah.
No, he's not. I don't think he's going to play again in the playoffs. Maybe. So we'll see how long the playoffs last. All right, Kurt. I think we covered the. You got any final thoughts or?
A win is a win.
Win is a win.
2-1, you got life. Now it's a series again. Someone said it's not a series until you play your first game at home. So.
Till you lose, you haven't lost until you lost your first game at home. Is the one the bromide? Is that a bromide? Is that what that means that I've been hearing? I'm not sure what bromide is, but
anyway, I'll take it.
All right, me too. All righty, Kurt. Thanks for talking tonight.
My pleasure.
And in the meantime, and in between times, and in the hall of our fathers, they're celebrating tonight. Bruce McCurdy. I think he twisted the arm of the hockey gourds tonight. Never in doubt. This has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.